Part 123. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1221. Adventure Map, Tokyo Bianliang, Ascetic Temple of Light, Explorer's Guest Room. A young man rushed over and gave Explorer a bear hug, and the other two young men stood beside him and laughed. After the hug, the strong young man said with a little sob, "Brother Explorer, I miss you so much." The Explorer also laughed, "Brother Han Dong, I miss you too." "Let me see, okay, you are much stronger than the last time we met." Then he said to the other two young men, "Brother Chiu San Tung, Brother Taizu, you are the same. A man should look at you with new eyes after 3 days of separation. I almost can't recognize you." That's right, these three young men are Han Dong, the follower of Explorer, and Chiu San Tung and Taizu, Han Dong's followers. Originally, Han Dong, Chiu San Tung and Explorer fought together in the strategic map. Later, Explorer was kidnapped and recruited by Liang Shan, and they also joined Liang Shan forces. Since Explorer is in a traveling state and cannot go to the strategic map, the two of them are in charge of Explorer's territory in the strategic map. The Explorer has only one Xiaoyang village on the strategic map. Now it has been built into Xiaoyang City. Although the Explorer cannot go to the strategic map, he can remotely control the construction of the city. Except for the magic tower and the barracks above level 5, Xiaoyang City has basically been built. Of course, it is not impossible to continue construction, but if you spend more money, it will be a bit of a loss. Before, the Explorer had another city under his name, which was Medusa City in the underground world. Because of Gong Sun Sheng's persuasion, Xiao Ming handed over the city to the Liangshan forces in exchange for the opportunity to go down the mountain to travel. Now it seems quite cost-effective. Han Dong has developed quite well in Xiaoyang City. Mainly because Xiaoyang City has a very good geographical location. It is located on a small island in the Bohai Sea. It is very close to Liaodong. On the strategic map, Liaodong is now the territory of the Manchu orcs. The orcs are very strong on land, but they have almost no navy. So the orcs have no way to deal with Xiaoyang City on the island. Instead, Han Dong can repeatedly bring troops on board to harass Liaodong. Many Ming civilians were rescued one after another. Han Dong's troops were not worth the Qing dynasty sending out generals to deal with. Even if it was a small group of orcs, Han Dong could not resist it. But Han Dong had a ship. Xiao Ming left him a medium-sized ship with long-range weapons on board. Han Dong led his troops to the sea, and the orcs had no good way to deal with him. Moreover, Han Dong could pick up a lot of resources and gold coins in the nearby waters, and even refugees at sea. His strength grew very fast. This was the arrangement of the system. Otherwise, with the strength of the Qing dynasty, it would be impossible to take a small Yangcheng. However, according to the calculation of the system, this matter was not worthy of the attention of the Qing dynasty's high-level officials. It was just that the local army and commander were dealing with Han Dong. And the local army happened to be restrained by Han Dong. Although Han Dong's level was not high, he had two accessories for the combination treasures: Mad Demon Shield and Holy Shoes. Both of these treasures were strengthened once by Xiao Ming with source energy. This made them show relatively powerful characteristics. The real combat effectiveness of Han Dong's troops was much stronger than it looked. In addition, there are a large number of ascetics in his team. The healing ability of ascetics and their spiritual pets are extremely advantageous in low-intensity battles. The healing ability can restore the lives of soldiers, and pets can replace soldiers as cannon fodder, so that Han Dong can fight without damage in many cases. What if the pet is sacrificed? It's a piece of cake. You can revive it by consuming faith points, or buy another one. So Han Dong has grown rapidly during this period. The adventure level has reached level 13 of the second stage, and the strategic level has also risen to the maximum level of level 20 of the first stage. It's time to accept the promotion task. In terms of military strength, there are weekly production supplements in Xiaoyang City, and the consumption is very small, so it is now quite strong. The system-given Temple of Light has appeared in Xiaoyang City. This allows Han Dong to easily travel between the strategic map and the adventure map. Of course, even if there is no temple, he can travel back and forth. There is a primary general temple on a nearby island. It's just a little troublesome. Han Dong needs to row the troops over. In addition, Han Dong has rescued more than 1,000 people from the Ming Dynasty, so his mission Save the People of the Ming Dynasty has awarded him the second stage reward again. Han Dong received 2 human village building stones for rescuing more than 1,000 people. This happened not long ago. These 2 village building stones belonged to Han Dong himself, and he was not polite. He built 2 more human villages on 2 islands near the island where Xiaoyang village was located, Xiaoliu village and Xiaoxiang village. Xiaoliu village was built on the island with the Universal Temple. This matter was really not directed by the intelligent program Xiaoer, but Han Dong's own idea. He has a high degree of favorability with the explorer, so he has a lot of autonomy. Xiaoer fully supports his decision. Normally, if Han Dong and the other 2 use the teleportation function of the temple on the strategic map, they should return to the temple in Liangshan. The reason why they appeared in the Temple of Light in Bianliang was actually caused by a special mission. And this mission also appeared because of Xiao Ming. When Xiao Ming officially introduced the Jedi Knight profession into the main game, the system has a series of tasks that will be adjusted and expanded accordingly. Han Dong, whose strategic level has reached the maximum level of level 1, level 20, wanted to accept a promotion task, but he saw an epic promotion task: obtain the qualification of an apprentice Jedi Knight. Han Dong and the explorer had already reached a favorability of over 90. So he knew that it was his elder brother who introduced the Jedi Knight profession. And he also knew some of the explorer's special abilities. Xiao Ming once strengthened the ascetic suit for him and Qiu Santung. So he decisively chose this task. Therefore, he, Qiu Santung and Taizu were teleported to the temple, which was simply the system's handiwork. They were asked to come to do the task. Theoretically, only Han Dong needed to be teleported, but Qiu Santung and Taizu were Han Dong's followers. It was normal and reasonable for Han Dong to take them with him on the task. Even Han Dong's own mercenaries were brought with him, but they were all packed in tents and generally did not show up in front of people. This task was too easy. Xiao Ming could do it with a raise of his hand, and he could even let Han Dong get the official Jedi Knight profession in one step. But Xiao Ming did not do it immediately. How to maximize the benefits was the focus of Xiao Ming's thinking. Obtaining the qualification of an apprentice Jedi Knight is a task. Obtaining the official Jedi Knight profession is definitely also a task. So it is not a good idea to do it all at once. It is more cost-effective to take 2 tasks and get 2 rewards. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1222. The first thing Xiao Ming did for Han Dong was to transfer the 2 generals, Qiu Santung and Taizu, to heroes. Because there were 2 more villages on the strategic map, Xiao Ming felt that Han Dong would not be able to handle it alone, so he continued to help. Qiu Santung and Taizu had been trained as generals for a long time, and it was the right time to transfer them to heroes. And they would cooperate with Han Dong very well. Xiaoyang village has existed for a long time. Why hasn't the tavern in the village attracted heroes? It's because the place is too remote and desolate. Without the phoenix tree, of course, it can't attract the phoenix. It's a small island, and there are not many people on the island. How could a hero come here to drink? So for such a long time, Han Dong has recruited many soldiers in the tavern, even refugees, and has recruited 1 or 2 blank generals, but he really hasn't seen a hero. This time, Xiaoming transferred Qiu Santung and Taizu to heroes, which helped Han Dong a lot, that is to say, he helped Xiaoming himself. Han Dong is the best brother of the explorer. As for the general positions vacated by these two people, the explorer happened to have Qiu Santung's two elder brothers, Qiu Dajin and Qiu Arian. They replaced the younger brother's position. They have been following the explorer for a long time and have long become ascetics. Now they are qualified enough to be transferred to generals. It's just that Qiu Santung has the best relationship with Han Dong and is Han Dong's follower. But Qiu Dajin and Qiu Arian are closer to the explorer and can only be regarded as serving under Han Dong. Unfortunately, these people did not receive the task of taking office as trainee Jedi Knights. Xiaoming did not give them the Force seeds immediately, so as not to force the growth of seedlings. Next, Xiaoming used the second system quota to give Han Dong the seeds of the Force, making him a trainee Jedi Knight. The first quota has been given to Zhao Di. The next second, the promotion task was completed. Han Dong's strategic level was not only upgraded to level 2. Even his quality was improved, from green elite level to blue leader level. Han Dong's strength in all aspects has made a qualitative leap. The explorer asked him to go to the temple where the tasks were issued. Is there any task to become a formal Jedi Knight? If there is, Xiaoming will help him complete it today. Unfortunately, there is no such task yet. How can Xiaoming encounter all the good things? It's lucky to encounter it once, okay. If Han Dong hadn't had such a close relationship with the explorer, he would never have encountered such a promotion task. Before nightfall, Han Dong and his party returned to the strategic map. They are bandits, and it is not easy to meet Zhao Di, Guo Lao, Hong Lao, and others openly. Both sides knew that the other party was close at hand, and they deliberately avoided meeting each other. Only the explorer himself had this privilege. Before leaving, the explorer made a special trip to Tokyo City and bought a 5th-level human barracks temple blueprint, which he gave to Han Dong to take back. The temple produces the human race's regular 5th-level soldiers monks, which is a magic soldier. The vitality is lower than that of the 4th-level swordsman. It can use magic for long-range attacks. It can only be said to be mediocre, without much highlights. However, there is an advantage of soldiers who use magic attacks, that is, they can all meditation on the battlefield. Meditation can restore the mana of the soldiers themselves, and with mana, they can continue to attack remotely. Unlike long-range soldiers with physical attacks, they need to consume ammunition. And they have limited ammunition with them. Once it is used up, it is difficult to replenish it in battle. Magic soldiers can always attack remotely, and the ammunition is unlimited. It is that when meditation is needed in the late stage of the battle, the attack frequency of this type of soldiers will inevitably decrease a lot. This type of soldiers is very suitable for the tactics of blocking. Use terrain or other means to block enemies without long-range capabilities, and then slowly use the monk's long-range magic attacks to grind the opponent to death. Even if the opponent's troops are strong, it is useless. This is a tactic that can defeat the strong with the weak if used well. It is very popular among players. As a free NPC, Han Dong can theoretically use this tactic that only players will use. But in fact, free NPCs are not so intelligent. Unless the player personally explains this tactic to him in detail, or demonstrates it to him several times. Even so, if the NPC's personality is a fool, he will not be able to learn it. Xiaoming just briefly explained a few usages to Han Dong, and he looks forward to seeing how much he can understand in the future. To be honest, Xiaoming's brain can't think of so many tactics at all, and the cases he talked about are actually from the online novels he read before. As for whether it is really reasonable, he is not sure. Anyway, there is no harm in trying it. Xiaoming can continue to strengthen Han Dong's strength, such as using source energy to strengthen Han Dong's equipment or treasures. However, he did not do so, and he did not even continue to strengthen the explorer's own equipment and treasures. In the past, Xiaoming used source energy to cheat mainly because he was not strong enough and wanted to take advantage of the system. Now Xiaoming himself is already very strong and has taken enough advantage. Use the strength of level 8s to deal with the situation faced by level 3 characters. It would be meaningless to continue to cheat. When the current plugin can no longer handle it, it will not be too late to increase the investment. Anyway, the source energy will not run away. After Han Dong left, the barbecue activity in the temple had already ended. No matter how delicious the food is, everyone's appetite is limited. In the end, the remaining barbecue was packed and divided by several people. At this time, the identity of King Su was useless. Only Old Guo was not interested in this kind of barbecue and did not join the scramble. King Su Zhao Di, Old Guo, and Old Hong did not teleport away. When they came here, they used instant teleportation because the incident happened suddenly and they had to hurry. It would be a waste to use the teleportation function when they go back. In fact, they would not leave immediately. Since they came here, they can also do some business by the way. For example, the fact that the ascetic monk obtained the inheritance of the Jedi Knight is a huge bargaining chip. It will definitely change the division of power among the top forces in the Song dynasty. The lineage of King Su must be the force that benefits the most. If they don't take the opportunity to build relationships with all parties and strive for benefits, when will they? They really have a lot of things to do in the capital. The superiors have their own things, and the inferiors have their own needs. Xiaoming is not interested in the business of King Su and his people. However, since the explorer has the status of Earl, then it would be unreasonable not to do some commodity trade in the capital. When it comes to commodity trade, Xiaoming's level is far inferior to that of the intelligent program Xiaoer. So he took the initiative to give up his position and switched roles. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1223. Seeing that it was already 6 or 7 p.m., with a few hours left, the main game was shut down. Switching to other characters won't do much. More importantly, Xiaoming doesn't like to be interrupted by the system in the middle of handling things. He simply did not enter the main game again. His mind left the game room and took a look at reality. In the living room, Ruan Mingmeng was reviewing his homework, accompanied by Xiaoming's Qi Yeying clone. Her school only holds classes during the day. There are no self-study courses in the evening, which is different from regular high schools. There are relatively few students in the school like Mengmeng who can attend classes all day during the day. Many people have no choice but to take classes that only take half a day. The courses for college entrance exams are still difficult, and Mengmeng struggled to study. In fact, she is still catching up on the progress of junior high school. How should I put it, her education level was not high, and her family did not support her studying when she was young. The stationery used is the cheapest, and the reference books are all other people's old books, which are incomplete. Even class time is often taken up by family members. She was ordered to skip school and do housework. Now Mengmeng is almost learning from scratch, and she also has to learn simplified Chinese characters. It is even more difficult. That's right, the Chinese nations of Pangustar also use simplified Chinese characters. Not knowing what to do, she could only pull Xiaoming's shadow clone to ask questions. If Mengmeng asks Xiaoming about his high school courses, he would not withdraw from them and had almost forgotten them all. But junior high school and even elementary school courses are still difficult for Xiaoming. After all, he is still a college student. Mengmeng studies very hard these days, but unfortunately her talent is so poor that it is difficult to learn these courses. Seeing her painful expression, the clone wanted to persuade her to give up. Why bother? But it's no use. The clone has tried to persuade me several times. Nothing is difficult in this world as long as you are willing to give up. However, Meng Meng never forgets her original intention and must go to college. Xiaoming also admires her spirit. Anyway, I can't be so persistent. Then we can only try our best to help. So I gave her another Bing Xinju so that she could study more calmly. It feels a bit wasteful to use Taoism on this kind of thing. Yin Xiaoming collected his thoughts and clicked on the secret realm of Hunter in the game. He plans to practice two kinds of telekinesis abilities in this secret realm. One is the ability to save people's lives. Dead Taoist friends will not die. Poor Taoists. This ability has been developed at the end of last month. Another ability is to remove thoughts. Considering the power of Chimera Ant's thoughts, it is necessary to be able to eliminate them. He had just started working on this project, and he almost gave up because he didn't have a clue. Ming Meng's perseverance inspired Xiaoming and asked him to continue working hard on scientific research. In this secret realm, the wood also has its own bright top. But it is not connected to the underworld. The bright dome is filled with people and objects in the secret realm. Here is Hisoka, and all the members of the Phantom Troop except the leader. It's a pity that there is not a single Neon Master among them. Xiaoming couldn't even find a reference. Just when Xiaoming was thinking, suddenly a stream of light from the sky flew toward him at high speed. Xiaoming's eyesight was very good and he could see clearly that they were Gon, Killua, and two acquaintances, Biziki Kuriga and Gornu. It probably flew here using the magic card Come Together. Of course, Xiaoming met Bisji in the world of reincarnation, and meeting Quilinu was the first time Xiaoming entered the Hunter's secret realm. Later, he was destroyed by a player on Greed Island. Moo is the character Xiaoming got after entering for the second time. The current situation is that of course the character Mew should not know these two people. Quilinu probably doesn't know himself either. But Bisji was different. She was also a student of President Netero, so she had to be called senior sister because of her seniority. I wonder if Master has told Bisji about his situation. How could that old man who loves to show off not say anything? Of course Bisky knew that. Is this the friend you are talking about? He seems to be really powerful, Guolinu said to Xiaoja and others. Xiaoming is focusing on studying his mind power, and his mind power is extremely strong. He couldn't take it back for a while, even Quilinu could vaguely see his powerful strength. Humph. What do you think? He is the new disciple of Hunter Association President Netero, would before Killua Jr. could answer, Biziki, who was dressed like a doll, interrupted. Both Gon and Killua knew about this, and they didn't take it seriously when they heard it. Only Quilinu didn't know anything about it before, and was stunned at this moment. In the eyes of Quilinu, the president of the Hunter Association is an unattainable existence, and his apprentice is naturally a figure like Mount Tai and Baidu. You can imagine Quilinu's shock when he suddenly saw a living person today. Bisji ignored him. His eyes wandered over the wooden body several times, and he praised, I'll go. Junior brother, your telekinesis strength is stronger than that of Master, right? Biziki had never told Gon and Killua about studying under President Netero. Gon and Killua were also shocked when they heard this. He and Gorno asked in unison, Nani? Is Biscuit also a student of President Netero? Humph. Sig pretended to be successful but actually felt quite beautiful in his heart. However, he pretended to be disdainful of telling them more and turned to Mew. Junior brother, this time, we need a few experts to get a designated card. Come together and do senior sister a favor. Next, Xiaoming patiently listened to several people telling him what was going on. At first, Gon, Killua, and Mewtwo entered the game of Greed Island together. Mewtwo, played by Xiaoming, stayed in a jungle near the entrance to practice telekinesis. Gon and Killua went to play the game hand in hand. However, after playing for a few days, they found that it was not going well. They were fooled around by the players in the game. At this time, Biscuit appeared. This senior sister had actually been observing them for a while, and she couldn't stand the fact that the two of them could not fully realize their potential, so she showed up in person to teach the two little ones to practice. Biscuit is indeed a very good teacher. In a very short time, she trained the two to become masters. The level is about sea level. It is much better than Xiaoming's teaching. After the special training, they started playing the game. With the strength of the three people, they quickly obtained a large number of designated pocket cards. During this period, they learned from a player that the bomb demon was losing. Later, because of the fast progress, they were pulled together by some masters among the players to hold a meeting. The content of the meeting was to deal with the bomb demon who was about to break through. If they were to fight face to face, they felt that they would definitely not be the opponent of the group that was willing to lose. So they planned to monopolize a designated card to prevent the bomb demon from breaking through. At this time, there was only one designated pocket card that no one had taken, and that was number 2 1 Coastline. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1224. 1 Ping of Coastline. It is the 002 card of the 100 designated cards in the clearance conditions of Greed Island. The difficulty of obtaining it is SS level, and the card limit is 3 cards. How difficult is it to obtain it? The first step to trigger the task is that 15 players use the magic card travel to reach Xiaofu Ruby. You can get the information of the pirates from a woman who sells things on the street by asking around in the city. You can get the card as long as you expel the 15 pirates headed by Lei Jia. If you want to expel the pirates, you have to compete with them. The competition method is more complicated, with various games. In short, you just need to win 8 games. The first time Xiaoja and his friends went, the strength of those companions was completely inadequate, and they couldn't even deal with Lei Jia's men. This Lei Jia is a good friend of Xiaoja's father, Jinfu Li Shi, who releases the ability of telepathy and has extremely strong combat power. In the original work, they played dodgeball, and Xiaoja, Killua, Hisoka, and others defeated Lei Jia. However, a match under fixed rules cannot show true combat power. The rules of that match are particularly favorable to users with release-type abilities. If they really fight, even Hisoka himself may not lose to Reza, but of course he may not win. It is estimated that they are evenly matched. After being defeated by Reza's men, the group gave up. Because to get this card, at least 8 strong companions are needed. The 3 people in the bomb demon group are indeed very strong, but they are already notorious in the game. They may have no problem pulling 12 cannon fodder, but it is impossible to find 5 strong partners. The bomb demon group cannot get this card. In this case, everyone is not in a hurry. Only Xiaoja, Killua, Biscuit, and Golanu think that the sooner this card is obtained, the better. This is a problem. This card can only exist for a maximum of 3 at the same time. They think that at least 4 masters need to be found. People are doing tasks with you, don't they want cards? How can you divide only 3 cards? Xiaoja's trio definitely wants one, and Gulanyo is a lone ranger and also wants one. The best thing is to find an 11-person player group. But this is also very unlikely. Where can you find such a group? Thank God for a 4-person team. Counting the masters they know, Xiaoja and Killua immediately thought of Mew Mew. Mew Mew doesn't play games and has no interest in cards, so he is very suitable. So they came together. The bomb demon group was once severely punished by Xiaoming. That was during a mission in the reincarnation world. Xiaoming's 3 7-star shadow clones met them, and seeing that they were deeply sinful, they taught them a lesson. They also learned about their strength and story. So Xiaoming asked the 4 people earnestly, "You want to get a square meter of coastline to prevent the bomb demons from passing the level, right? Yes, Killua replied. You use this method to stop them because you can't beat them head on, right? Yes, Gulanyo replied. After you get this card, will the bomb demon be able to find it? Several people were speechless. Except for Xiaoji, who was a bit slow, the other three understood what Mew Mew meant. Presumably the next question is, if the bomb demon chases you to snatch the card, what should you do? In fact, Guolinu and the others thought that the number of this card was too small. If you don't hurry to get it, it will be more difficult to get it in the future. But the problem is, if there is no bomb demon in this game, this idea is of course correct. But under the premise of the bomb demon and his group of murderers, taking this card is equivalent to asking for trouble. If you think you can beat the bomb demon, then you don't have to work hard to get the card. Isn't it better to just deal with the bomb demon? You can also snatch the opponent's card. Are you afraid of the bomb demon or not? This logic is so confusing. After listening to Mew Mew's words, the four of them became confused. It seems that they were stuck in a dead end at that time. They made things go wrong. Guolinu suddenly had an idea and said, we should find a few trustworthy people. After getting 3 cards of 1 square meter of coastline, give them to them. And let them quit the game immediately. It is difficult for the bomber to find a few people he doesn't know in the outside world. Kia shook his head and said, no, if a player leaves the game for more than 10 days, his cards will be cleared. If the bomber blocks the entrance for 10 days, what should we do? Biscuit looked at Mutio and asked, Junior brother, you are so calm, there must be a way. Tell me. Hearing this, the other 3 also looked over. Xiaoji even echoed loudly, yes, brother Mutio, what do you think we should do? Xiaoming smiled slightly, it's very simple, I just need to deal with the 3 of them now. You can figure out the cards yourself. Puff, all 4 people sprayed. Brother, your method is too simple and crude. How confident are you in yourself? Xiaoming ignored the surprised eyes of several people, released the mental power scan, and found the 3 bombers on the island in an instant. Having beaten them once before, Xiaoming knew the appearance of these 3 people very well. Shua, 3 7 Yao shadow clones instantly appeared beside them. When Ganshu and the other 2 saw someone else appear beside them, they felt a flash in front of their eyes, a pain in their necks, and then they lost consciousness. Okay, it's done. The bombers won't bother you anymore. Go on and have fun. As he said that, Xiaoming waved at the 4 people. He indicated that they could leave. WTF? What? Xiaoji and the others exclaimed at the same time, no one dared to believe that this was true. The 4 looked at Mutio with a strange look in their eyes. Brother, are you crazy? You just sat here for less than 10 seconds, and you told us that you're done without leaving here. If you want to lie, you should make a draft. Who would believe this? It's understandable that they don't know how powerful Mutio is now. The 3 bombers are no match at all. Xiaoming found that the speed at which he did things was indeed hard to believe. He could only sigh and say, check, are they still on the leaderboard? Xiaoji and the others quickly opened the card collection book and found that, as Mutio said, the 3 people had already left the leaderboard, and the small lights next to their names also dimmed. The lights were dimmed, which only meant that the person was no longer in the game, or had died. It was not enough to explain the problem completely. But they had left the card collection rankings, which meant that at least the cards in their books were gone, otherwise they would not have been removed from the list. The way they looked at Mutio again had a hint of something inexplicable. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1225. The 3 members of the Bomb Demon group are not dead, and are now locked up in Mew's Bright Summit. After all, talents are hard to come by, and Xiaoming also wants to fight for them. The more people we have to fight against the Chimera ants, the better. On Greed Island, Mew and Xiaoji and others were happily having dinner and chatting. Several Seven Shadows clones began to persuade Ganshu, Bara, and Shabu. The treatment of the bomb demon and the phantom troop is completely different. The phantom troop are all desperate criminals who are not afraid of death at all. If the leader had not given in at the beginning, they would not have surrendered to Xiaoming. And as long as the battle of the Chimera ants is over, Xiaoming will let them go free. Both parties signed the agreement using the ability of Xiaoming's Mind Beast uniform lawyer. The three guys of the bomb demon fought with Xiaoming's clones again in Bright Summit, and they were beaten and subdued as if they were playing a joke. In addition, the three of them were afraid of death, so naturally they did not have as good conditions as the members of the troop. The three of them obediently became Mew's eternal thugs. Is President Netaro's 100-style Guanyin a joke? After 3 gentle taps, the 3 of them collapsed. If it was a little heavier, they might have been flattened. How dare they not accept it? Similarly, after seeing the ability of Beishi Guanyin, and thinking about the skills that Mutio had shown before, the members of the brigade all felt that they were in awe of Mutio. It seemed that it would be good to work under him. Unfortunately, this ability is a template for system rewards. Xiaoming has not had time to implement it in reality. Next, Xiaoming gave the 3 of them some pointers. Their behavior was very stupid in Xiaoming's opinion. Of course, Xiaoming could not understand the feelings of the money grubber. After all, the rich man Mr. Bartra offered a reward of 50 billion to those who cleared the game. This is very attractive to hunters and non-users. Mutio's senior sister, the 2-star gem hunter Bisji Kolagia, had starry eyes at the 1 billion. Of course, Bisji's purpose was very clear. She cared about a kind of gem in the game, the blue planet. She used all her money to buy gems, and she was indeed tight on money. Even if they use the bombs of Voice of Life to threaten others for help in order to pass the level, killing people is too much. Of course, in the eyes of the 3 bombers, killing those who know their abilities is also a way to keep secrets. Having said that, deep in their hearts, they still have a bloodthirsty impulse. Otherwise, they would not practice such abilities. The barbarity of the bomber is no less than that of the phantom troop. As the saying goes, wealth is strong and power is bullying. Humans are such creatures. Most people will unconsciously use money, power, and fighting power to bully others. Although everyone is a bad guy, the members of the phantom troop really look down on the bomber trio. Since they have set their eyes on Batra's 50 billion, why not just rob it? They have to play the game according to other people's rules and wait for their charity. It's too embarrassing. In terms of strength, although the bombers are fighting factions, if they compare their fighting power, they can only surpass a few auxiliary personnel of the brigade, such as Kyubi. But facing the real fighters in the brigade, the bomb demon is useless. They have consumed their potential on the ability of the Sound of Life. This ability cannot be used in frontal combat. Hisoka came over with a smile. Boss Mew, these guys are useless, right? Let me kill them. He was also taught a lot by Xiaoming. People have to bow their heads under the eaves and dare not act casually. If it were the past, he would have killed people long ago, so why would he ask more questions? Hisoka is still very famous among the non-users. Mainly because of his neurotic and moody personality, many people can't stand it. The only one who can stand Hisoka is probably his good friend Illumi. He is also a pervert who is no less than him. Before Mew answered Hisoka, Ganshu and others were shocked. They have heard of Hisoka. They know how dangerous this guy is. Fortunately, Xiaoming refused categorically. Hisoka, don't come here, have you forgotten what we are going to do? Now is the time when we need manpower. With just their ability? Boss, do you think highly of them? Hisoka was very disdainful. What use can they have? Just wait and see. Xiaoming said this, and then ignored Hisoka. Instead, he raised his hand and summoned Kurora's mind ability Secret Book of Thieves. Xiaoming has not yet mastered this ability, so he can't use it in reality. But it can be used in the Hunter's secret realm. First, he stole the ability Voice of Life of Ganshu and others. He left a pinch of gunpowder for them to use. Xiaoming hoped that this would allow them to work hard to practice other mind abilities, more suitable for combat mind abilities. In addition, Xiaoming did a terrible thing on them. He used Insect Man Evolution Needle on them. In the past, this ability had to be used by Insect King Green Xiaoming himself, and only he had a tail. But Xiaoming grew up very fast, and now he can make Insect Man Evolution Needle without a tail. After Ganshu, Shabu, and Bala were transformed into insect humans, they were completely restrained. Their willpower and mental strength were simply unable to resist the pressure from their genes. In other words, the three of them did not want to fight. On the one hand, they were afraid of death. The gap in strength was too great, and they did not have the courage to resist. On the other hand, after evolving into insect humans, the three of them had greatly improved their physical attributes in all aspects. In terms of physical strength and recovery ability, they are almost catching up with Yujin. Their current combat power has reached the middle level of the Phantom Troop. If they practice hard, they may surpass Yujin and others. And they can feel the growth of their own potential in telekinesis. They can research and develop new telekinesis abilities. This is also the order given to them by Mutio. They must research the ability that is suitable for fighting against Chimera ants. In the Hunter world, strength is respected. Seeing the changes in the Ganshu trio, several members of the Phantom Troop felt heart pounding. This is a shortcut to becoming stronger. The others were a little embarrassed, but the knight in charge of collecting intelligence went straight to a clone. Pointing at the three bomb demons, he asked, "Temporary leader, what are you doing? Hey, can I come and have a look?" The clone pulled the corner of his mouth and smiled, "Sure. But you have to think about it. People who are transformed into this can no longer disobey my orders. It's like a slave." Several members sighed in frustration. The people of the Phantom Troop are free and easy. Even if they obey the orders of the leader, everyone is relatively independent. They are not to the point of selling their souls in pursuit of power. Xiaoming can see the changes in their hearts clearly. Unfortunately, the ability of the Insect Evolution Needle cannot be reversed. Otherwise, it can be used to temporarily improve the combat effectiveness of the troop, and then take it back after defeating the Chimera ants. Now we can only hope that one of them is not superstitious and has too high confidence in his willpower. He has to give it a try. Unfortunately, they all know how powerful Xiaoming is, and no one is willing to take this risk. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1226. Mutio U, are all the cards of the bomb demons yours? Biscuit suddenly thought of the cards. The bomb demon obtained a large number of designated pocket cards by threatening with bombs. He rushed to the top of the list in one fell swoop. He set a trap to trap the one-star bounty hunters Zetsu and his gang who worked for the rich man Bartra, and stole many very precious cards from them. He suddenly jumped to the top of the list. Although Zetsu is a one-star hunter, he knows that his strength is not as good as the bomb demon trio, so he dare not confront them head-on. The star rating only represents the contribution made by the hunter in this industry. It cannot represent combat strength. Now that Mutio U has dealt with the bomb demons and others, he should have grabbed all the cards. Biscuit asked this question. Yes, you don't need them anyway, just give them to us. Killua expressed great interest. Only Xiaoja likes to fully enjoy the fun of the game. he is not very interested in this kind of behavior of getting something for nothing. On the other side, Guolina poured a basin of cold water down. Impossible, if that were the case, Mew Mew would have appeared on the leaderboard now. The other three couldn't help but say oh. Xiaoming spread his hands, shrugged and said, I don't want to pass the level, why take their cards? Epsilon equals Omicron asterisk, alas, Killua and others sighed in unison again. There was nothing they could do. They thought Mew Mew had killed all three bomb demons. The actual situation was of course not like this. Xiaoming just ordered them to throw away all the cards. In Guangmingding, they turned into a pile of props and then disappeared. Since he didn't use them, why didn't Xiaoming give these cards to Xiaoja and the others? Helping them pass the level can also get a bigger reward. The reason is simple, Xiaoming wants them to pass the level later. Because the sooner they pass the Greed Island, the sooner they will enter the next plot. This means that the battle of the Chimera Ants is getting closer. Xiaoming certainly hopes that the battle of the Chimera Ants will come as late as possible. So try to delay it. The longer the time drags on, the more perfect his preparations will be. That little reward doesn't matter. Of course, Xiaoming also knows that he can't drag it out for too long. The system will automatically correct the plot. It can only drag on for a while longer. Humph, Bisji wrinkled his little nose and said a little cutely, it's all your fault, you rotten wood, you lost so many cards. You must compensate us. The senior sister showed off her power, and Xiaoming was helpless. Even without telepathy, Xiaoming could see that Bisji was pretending, so he had to follow her. Put your hands together and make a gesture of worship. Senior sister, spare my life, junior brother doesn't understand. You tell me, what do you want me to do? Junior brother will go through fire and water without hesitation. That's more like it, Bisji said proudly, this time I'm going to get a square meter of coastline cards, you come to help. Yes, senior sister. Give me another piece of barbecue. Okay, senior sister. After eating and drinking, several people continued to discuss who to ask for help. With Muta joining the team, there are only 5 people in the team, and at least 3 masters are needed. Xiaoming and his friends thought of the 4-man team of Chwezajila. After checking the card collection books of several people, they found Chwezajila's name in Biscuit's book. In this way, they can use the magic card travel to fly directly to him. In fact, you can also say hello by private message first. Then arrange a meeting place. Unfortunately, Xiaoja is impatient, so he chose to fly directly. After meeting, after some bargaining, Chwezajila also agreed to go together to get the card of Yiping Coastline. And he also agreed that after clearing the level, 50 billion of the 50 billion reward obtained would be divided into 5 billion for Xiaoja, Killua, Biscuit, Golanu, and Mewtwo. Exactly 1 billion per person. Now that the bomb demon group has been eliminated, the hope of clearing the level and getting the bonus is even greater. After a little targeted training, several people paid a few players to act as babysitters, and gathered 15 people to go to Xiaofurubi. The lineup in the original book is basically the same as this one, except that Hisoka is replaced by Wood. According to common sense, without the threat of the bomb demon, the Zizazella team and Xiaoja are in a competitive relationship, and there is no reason to share such important card information. Not to mention going to play the dungeon together. Or because of the game settings, the system will find a way to return to the plot. So this group of people still got together. Came to the lighthouse of Xiaofurubi to fight the pirates. The rules of the battle are like this. In theory, 15 players and 15 pirates such as Lei Jia fight 1 by 1. As long as 8 people in the player team win, they can get the card. It was also smooth at the beginning. The 3 companions of Zizazella won 3 battles easily. But at this time, something went wrong. The leader named Lei Jia told his subordinates to let them fight casually, and it didn't matter if they lost. Lei Jia would deal with the others. There was a fat pirate named Papapo who was not happy, openly challenged Lei Jia's authority, and incited other pirates to rebel. He also revealed that this Greed Island is actually a thing in the real world. The so-called real world here refers to the real world in the secret realm of Hunter x Hunter. It is not the real world of Pangostar that Xiaoming is in. As a result, Lei Jia didn't hesitate and threw a telekinetic bullet at the fat man, blowing his head off. It also scared many players silly. Unexpectedly, Xiao Ji accused Lei Jia of killing people indiscriminately. After several people explained it, he finally understood. Greed Island is also a real world. Some of the NPCs are the game producers and their hired people. These pirates are actually prisoners in reality. That Papapo has committed at least 11 murders in reality. He was hired by Lei Jia. It is not uncommon in the hunter world for professional hunters to hire death row prisoners on the condition of absolute obedience. In fact, Lei Jia is also a death row prisoner, but he was hired by Xiaoji's father Jin. Of course, he has a kind side in his heart, unlike the vicious guy like Papapo, so he was favored by Jin. He even became one of the producers of the Greed Island game. It can be regarded as redemption. Jin told him that one day his son Xiaoji would come to Greed Island, and he would not be polite at that time and try to hit him as much as possible. What a good father! After such a commotion, Lei Jia became impatient. He directly summoned 7 humanoid beasts around him. He wanted to have an 8-on-8 dodgeball game. As long as Xiaoji and others win this competition, they will naturally win 8 wins and get the card directly. Therefore, the victory of the 3 companions of Chwezalura before was meaningless. If the players are strong, they will have to fight against Lei Jia in the end. 8 players fighting against 1 Lei Jia seems to have an advantage. In fact, Lei Jia designed a game that best suits his Nin ability. The players are at a disadvantage. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1227. Liz's ability is called 14 Demons, which is a group of mind beasts with numbers in front of them. The exact number is unknown. The prisoners hired by him are actually just to make up the numbers. The player has only one real opponent in this mission, and that is Liza. The rules of 8-on-8 dodgeball are as follows. The prop for the game is a leather ball, which is shaped like a football but weighs like a bowling ball. The competition venue seems to be a volleyball court, but there is no net in the middle. Each side places 7 players in their own field and 1 player outside the field. The 2 sides attack each other with the ball. If the ball thrown by the enemy hits the player and falls to the ground, the player is out, but if he can catch the ball, then the ball belongs to our side. You can use it to attack the enemy. When the inner field player is hit by the ball thrown by the enemy, it is also considered out and must go out of the field. Among all the outer field players, only one person has the right to return to the inner field once. As long as he shouts back. There are also a series of other small rules, which I will not go into detail here. The game officially begins. Lei Jia's team is composed of Lei Jia and 7 mind beasts, and the number 1 mind beast is in the outfield. Xiaoming's team has some personnel problems. At this time, there are only 6 masters left, namely Xiaoji, Kilua, Biscuit, Golanu, Zizazella, and Mutio Yu. The other players were invited to make up the numbers. Originally, they would just lose directly when they went on the court. But because Lei Jia just killed someone, he burst out with super strong momentum. The other players were wilted at that time. They would rather break the contract and run away than participate in the game. Are you kidding? A ball of that power will kill you in 1 hit. There is no time to admit defeat. Of course, those people are unwilling to take risks. Xiaoming is also very strange. Those who can enter the Greed Island are all mind power users. Because the game cards of the game console are activated by mind power. Logically speaking, people who can obtain mind power should not be so afraid of death. The process of practicing mind power is also extremely difficult. In fact, this is human nature. When people have nothing, they can often fight desperately. After having a certain amount of assets, status, and family, many people will become timid. It is certainly not easy for an user to cultivate NAN power, but after becoming an user, as long as they don't commit suicide, they will live a comfortable life. If they are asked to take risks again, they will naturally not do it. Our classmate Zhang Xiaoming is different. From the beginning, he was a salted fish otaku and never wanted to take risks. Just when Xiaoming was about to summon 2 clones or NAN beasts to replace the quota, Guolinu used his ability first. Summoned 2 gorilla-shaped NAN beasts, 1 black and 1 white. The white gorilla is called White Sage, and its ability is to exchange positions with Guolinu at any time. And the ability of Black Sage is to exchange positions with the enemy. It is a very interesting auxiliary ability, which has application value in battle or life. This is the normal and pretty good way for NAN users to play, and their abilities are all practical. The 2 sides began to fight. Xiaoming did nothing for the time being, and first saw how everyone played. If he took action, the game would probably end immediately. Although Lei Jia is very strong, his strength is actually at the level of the members of the brigade, not worth mentioning. This is also the request of Xiaoja and Killua. They know that Mewtwo eliminated the group of bomb demons without moving himself. Although we don't know what special ability it is certain that Mewtwo is very, very strong. He will probably win soon if he takes action. So everyone agreed that Mewtwo will be in the outer field, and when there is only 1 player left in the inner field, Mewtwo will shout back to return to the field and solve the game. Unaware of the situation, Zhu Ziyi and Zhu La did not take this agreement seriously, and thought that Xiaoja and the others were bragging. But it doesn't matter, just brag if you want to, as long as they win this game. Why bother? The situation at the beginning of the game is like this. Lei Jia asked the player side to attack first. Guolinu first threw the ball twice and knocked the number 4 and number 5 mind beasts out of the field. So the opponent had 3 mind beasts in the outer field. They stood on the left and right and behind the player's side respectively, and surrounded the players in his own inner court. Then, Guolinu wanted to hit Lei Jia out of the court with 1 ball, which was a bit too ambitious. Lei Jia was so strong that he caught the ball with 1 hand. Now it was Lei Jia's turn to attack. His first ball flew directly to Guolinu at a super fast speed. Guolinu had no time to defend himself, and in a hurry he used the ability of the White Sage to exchange himself with the White Gorilla. The White Gorilla was shattered by a blow, and Guolinu was scared out of his wits. Fortunately, he used his telekinesis to dodge, otherwise he would have died if he was hit by that ball. Then it was Lei Jia's playtime. He did not throw the ball directly to the players in the inner court, but threw the ball to Lei Jia's telekinetic beast on the left side of the player's court. Then the telekinetic beast turned around and threw the ball to the telekinetic beast behind the player's court, then to the right, and then back to Lei Jia's hands. In the long run, the only difference is that the ball will be faster every time it changes hands. By the end, it was so fast that it was dizzying and hard to watch. Suddenly, a mind beast changed the pass to attack, and hit the ball to Zetsuzera. He was knocked to the ground and had to leave the field. The ball fell into his own field and was caught by Killua. Fortunately, before Zetsuzera was hit, Xiaoja and Killua shouted Zetsuzera, behind, and when Zetsuzera heard the shout, he subconsciously used telekinesis to defend behind him, so he was not killed by 1 blow. He only broke a few ribs, and maybe his internal organs were ruptured. He was no longer able to fight. This situation is not considered inside or outside the game, and he was directly eliminated. Zetsuzera was obviously hit. In terms of comprehensive combat power, he should be on par with Xiaoja and Killua, and he could be more experienced. But this time, his performance was far worse than Zyuja and Killua. Zetsuzairo was shocked and reflected on himself. He found that he had lost the concentration he had in the initial practice, and he had not done basic training for several years. He should start from the beginning. In the original work, Zyuja and Killua's comprehensive combat power was not as good as his at this time. Because Xiaoming rewrote the plot, the four protagonists in this secret realm are stronger than those of the same period. Just as Chwezajila was daydreaming, he suddenly felt a warm current flowing into his body, and his injuries were miraculously healed. Chwezajila felt the source of this energy and turned to look at Mutioyu, who was doing nothing outside the venue. It was Xiaoming who used healing magic on Chwezajila. The healing effect was so good that almost everyone focused their attention. Seeing that it was Mutioyu, Xiaoji and the others were relieved. The others were shocked. Isn't this healing ability too strong? While Chwezajila thanked repeatedly, some thoughts were turning in his mind. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1228. The game continued, and the right to serve returned to the player. At this time, Guolina recovered a little. He took the initiative to apply for the serve. However, he threw the ball to his own mind beast, the black gorilla. When the ball was about to hit the mind beast, he activated the ability Black Sage and swapped the mind beast and Lei Jia. Lei Jia was hit in the cheek unexpectedly, and the ball bounced outfield. Guolina's move was a surprise victory, and even Lei Jia was stabbed. It was also a revenge for the previous arrow. Suddenly, something strange happened. The mind beasts number 6 and number 7, who were still on the field, actually merged into the tall and strong mind beast number 13, and raised his hand to throw the petite mind beast number 2 next to him in the direction of the ball. The number is written on the chest of the mind beast. Number 2 has an extremely fast flying speed and can catch the ball before it hits the ground. If it catches the ball, according to the rules, Lei Jia will not be on the field. But number 2 will definitely not come back from outside the field. This is an extreme substitution. If Lei Jia is saved, it will be a win. In the original work, Lei Jia's purpose is more than that. Number 2 got the ball and turned around to throw it back. Number 13 received the ball and hit Guolina by surprise. Everyone was knocked unconscious. At this critical moment, Xiaoming took action. Some friends may ask, didn't you agree not to take action? Why did you go back on your word? Do you still remember that when Zhang Xiaoming and Wen Jie first entered the secret realm of Hunter x Hunter, the first person they met was Guolinu, who took a lot of care of him at that time. Some basic knowledge about telekinesis was told to Xiaoming by Guolinu. He always remembered this favor. So Xiaoming didn't want Guolinu to fail in this outstanding performance, so he casually threw out a retractable love, and a long telekinetic chewing gum shot out, caught the ball first, and pulled it back to his hand. Backhanded and threw it to Guolinu again. Lei Jia appeared, and number 2 telekinetic beast also appeared. At the same time, because the black gorilla's mind beast had replaced its position with Liza and left its own field, it also came on the field. Zyuja and Killua knew that this was Hisoka's trick, but they didn't expect that Mewtwo would also know it. They all said ah, at the same time. Killua stared at Mewtwo with wide eyes and asked, this is Hisoka's ability, brother Mewtwo, how did you? Xiaoming smiled and replied, he, I think Hisoka's ability is good, I imitated it myself. Awesome. Several people present, including Liza, gave a thumbs up and praised Mewtwo. Being able to imitate other people's mind abilities is not something that ordinary people can do. If Liza had stayed outside the field, the player team would have almost won. So Liza shouted back and returned to the inner field. This time, Guolina couldn't use the same trick again. There must be some prerequisites for changing positions at will, and there are also relatively strict restrictions. How can it be used casually? At present, Only Liza, number 13 Mind Beast, and number 3 Mind Beast are left in the opponent's field. Number 13 looked tall and strong, and Leja was not easy to mess with, so Gyulanu had to attack number 3. As a result, the Mind Beast fusion skill was used again. Number 13 and number 3 merged to form number 16 Mind Beast, and easily caught the ball. It turned out that this ability can be used twice. And number 16 did not hesitate at all after receiving the ball, and hit Gyulanu out of the court with a backhand. With a little more strength, Gyulanu was knocked unconscious in the air. The White Sage also disappeared automatically. Epsilon equals Omicron asterisk, alas, this kid still couldn't escape this fate. Xiaoming deliberately didn't save him in advance, but immediately gave him a healing spell after landing. Xiaoming is not Gyulanu's nanny. It is good for Gyulanu to receive this blow. Anyway, he won't lose his life. Since there is no second chance, Leja rarely gets serious. With the previous high-speed pass in the outfield and the sudden attack tactics, Biscuit and Killua were quickly knocked out of the court. Only Xiaoja was left in the player's field. As agreed, Xiaoming shouted back and entered the field. Xiaoja was unwilling to give up, and he pulled Mewtwo and muttered to each other. He still hoped to win the game himself. And he also thought of a way. That is his mind ability Guessing Fist. If he uses a stone, he can exert a lot of force. He wants to use this power to hit the ball out and see if Leja and number 16 Mind Beast can catch it. But this requires someone to stabilize the ball, and he can't use mind power to defend. Otherwise, Xiaoja's power will not be exerted. But that person will also have to bear the power of this blow and will be seriously injured. The key is that normal mind ability users will subconsciously use mind power to defend when facing attacks. This is an instinct that is difficult to control. So Xiaoja originally planned to use this trick with Killua. He has great trust in Killua. Only then can this method be used to its full power. In addition, Mewtwo has shown super healing ability, so now he is not afraid of Killua getting hurt. Unfortunately, Killua has already appeared, and Wood used up his only chance to back. Xiaoja had no choice but to ask Wood. This is not a big deal, Xiaoming readily agreed. Xiaoja's strength is not enough to hurt himself. So he used one finger to hold the ball firmly in the air at waist level. Xiaoming did this, using the power of one finger to counter Xiaoja's guessing game. Among the people present, only Xiaoming can do it. If Killua did this, his fingers would be broken. The trajectory of the ball would also fluctuate, and it might not be accurate. So in the original work, Killua used both hands to hold the ball as a cannon, and was seriously injured after hitting it several times. If it was Mewtwo, there would be no such problem. It was impossible to get hurt. In fact, Mewtwo, as a character, would not work if he did not use telekinesis to protect his fingers. But Xiaoming's reaction speed is unmatched. He can withdraw his fingers at the moment of contact and will not be hurt at all. Boom, with a blow, Xiaoja accumulated a strong telekinesis and shot the ball like a cannonball in one fell swoop, hitting number 16 and sending him flying out of the court. However, the ball also fell into the hands of the opponent. Haha, I heard that your name is Mewtwo, and you are the new apprentice of President Netero, right? Leja asked with the ball. It turned out that he had also heard about Xiaoming. Let me try whether you are qualified. Leja snapped his fingers, and all the telekinetic beasts disappeared, and all the telekinesis returned to Leja's body. His telekinesis reached the maximum state. The next blow will also be the most powerful blow Leja can make. Can it be played like this? I never thought of it. If Xiaoming cancelled the Mind Beast himself, he would just stop spending his mind power, but he really couldn't take it back. Of course, Xiaoming didn't do this because he had too much energy. He didn't consider recycling, which was too petty. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1229. Oh my god. N. A group of people stared at the ball hovering in front of Mew, dumbfounded. Everyone's judgment of Mew was already very high. Some people thought he could easily dodge, some thought he could bounce back, and some even thought he could catch Lei Zha's powerful jump serve with one hand, just like Lei Zha had done before. The one who held this idea was Guilanu. His physical injuries were healed by Xiaoming, and he woke up soon. He also knew that the benefactor who treated him was Mew. Of course, his thoughts were highly subjective. Because Lei Zha caught the ball he threw with one hand before, he was very frustrated. So he hoped that the benefactor could avenge himself. Unexpectedly, even Guilano's imagination did not touch the edge of Mew's ability. Mew's body was motionless, and with the help of layers of telekinetic chewing gum, he fixed the ball in the air. This beloved disciple of President Netero was a little too powerful. The effect of stretchable love is mainly reflected in the auxiliary aspect, and defense is only a secondary ability. With the secondary effect of a simulated ability, he can easily resist such a powerful attack as Lei Zha. How unfathomable is Mew's own ability of mind? By analogy, how invincible is his master, President Netero? In fact, Xiaoming only showed a small part. If he doesn't use mind power, he can stop the ball in the air with the power, mental power, small universe, and other abilities. Even if he leaves it alone, the ball can't penetrate the layers of protection on Xiaoming's body. Of course, if he doesn't even protect himself, Mew's physical attributes can't withstand the ball and he will be killed in one blow. In the surprised eyes of everyone, Mew stretched out his hand to pick the ball from mid-air and smiled to Xiaoji. Xiaoji, let's do it again. Only Xiaoji was a stubborn fool at the scene. He was not too shocked. He just thought that brother Mew was already powerful. What's so surprising about this? Hearing Mew calling him, he immediately took an attacking posture and began to accumulate strength. Okay, that's enough, I admit defeat. Lei Zha raised his hands to show that he accepted defeat. His idea was, just kidding, who wants to fight with you? Even if Xiaoji is also on the field, he can't beat this Mew. What if this guy uses me to test his other abilities, wouldn't his life be in danger? It's better to admit defeat quickly. So the player team successfully passed the level. Lei Zha also went through a game program and said to Xiaoji and others, we will leave this town as agreed. The players were stunned, and then they remembered. Everyone's mission this time is to drive this group of pirates out of Shaofulabi. I almost forgot it. Before leaving, Lei Zha took Xiaoji to a corner and told him about his father, Jin Fulasi. Although Xiaoji's glory was completely overshadowed by Mew's strength this time. But Lei Zha still saw Xiaoji's shining points. He agreed with him very much. Others were naturally embarrassed to eavesdrop on these words, only Xiaoming did not have such a psychological burden and heard everything. But there were not many great secrets. Jin was not on Greedy Island, and this game was also used to train Xiaoji. When Xiaoji was still a baby, Jin had brought him to Greedy Island. A baby has no telekinesis, so he cannot be brought in by normal means. Jin took the back door. He is the creator of the game. It is precisely because of these back doors. At the beginning, Xiaoming and Brother Wen were randomly assigned to Greedy Island without any telekinesis. Jin arranged his good friend Lei Zha here and told him not to show mercy to his son. He is really a good father. If he trusts his son enough, isn't he afraid that Lei Zha will not be able to stop and beat his son to death? Lei Zha is an honest man, and he really is merciless when he says he will not show mercy. If Xiaoming was not there, even if Xiaoji and his team could win, they would probably have to pay an extremely heavy price. In the original work, 11 Suo replaced Xiaoming, and everyone was seriously injured after a fight. They were almost picked up by the bomb demon group. After Lei Jia left, the NPC who had given clues came and took everyone through a plot. The players got the number 2 SS level card 1 ping coastline. According to the original plot, due to the threat of the bomb demon trio, this group of people had to continue to cooperate and strive to pass the level quickly. As a result, the bomb demon came directly to the door, and the two sides had a series of offensive and defensive battles. In the end, Xiaoji, Killua, and Biscuit used some strategies to defeat the bomb demon and obtained all the opponent's cards. At the same time, the entire game was also completed. In the secret realm of this life, although Xiao Ming intervened and the bomb demon had been dealt with in advance, they still cooperated. This was the condition that was negotiated before coming to obtain 1 ping of coastline. Coupled with the appearance of Miu Miu, Zhu Ziju La did not dare to regret it. Instead, he had to consider how to give up more benefits. Xiaoja and his group, and Quilinu and his group, all went to continue their game. Xiaoming wanted to go back to practice his nin ability. But he was stopped by Zhuezajila. He made an invitation to Xiaoming. His employer, the wealthy Mr. Bartra, offered a reward of 50 billion in the hope of getting the reward after clearing the level. It must be because he needs something on Greed Island. Because the players who pass the game can take the 3 cards in the designated pockets out of Greedy Island. These 3 cards can still play their normal power outside the island. The other cards will be automatically invalidated once they leave Greedy Island. Zhuezajila felt that Mewtwo was too powerful, and he was also the apprentice of President Netero. He had unparalleled connections. With Mewtwo's ability, he might be able to fulfill Batra's wish directly. There would be no need to work hard to pass the game. When he said this to Xiaoming, Xiaoming was also a little tempted. Not because of the 50 billion reward, but because it was beneficial to Xiaoming. The system's current task for Xiaoming is to help Gon and Killua pass the game of Greedy Island. The rewards will be settled together after passing the game. So even though he played such an important game just now, Mewtwo made a lot of efforts, but he didn't get any rewards. All the credits are accumulated in the game system. With the help of Zhuezajila's team, Xiaoja's speed of passing the game will be faster. But this does not meet Xiaoming's expectations. Of course, he hoped that the clearance would come as late as possible. He would have more time to practice his ability to eliminate thoughts. Xiaoming actually had no interest in helping a super rich man realize his wish. But since it could help him, let's go and see it together. If it was a reasonable wish that did not hurt others, he could help. If it was a particularly greedy wish, he could just ignore it. Could he force himself? Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1230. Xiaoming quit the game and came to Batra's luxurious villa according to the agreement with Zhuezajila. Batra was moved by Zhuezajila's persuasion and came to see Miu Miu in person. Tell him the truth about what he wants. Of course Batra had heard of the name of the Hunter Association. Being a disciple of the president is enough to attract his attention. From Batra's point of view, even if this kid has nothing to say and is not reliable in his work, this is still a connection. It's best to pass the wood, please ask the president of the association. Before coming, Xiaoming was a little worried. For such a rich man, would he have any perverted wishes, such as immortality? In that case, Xiaoming wouldn't be able to handle it either. Unexpectedly, this rich man turned out to be a man of temperament. He fell in love with a girl who was old enough to be his granddaughter. The girl returned all the expensive gifts from Batra, preferring instead the crude photo frames he made. They vowed to dispose of all their property and stay together for the rest of their lives. It seems like true love. However, the girl encountered an accident and fell into a coma. All the doctors said that they could only maintain the current vegetative state and there was no way to save her. Just when the old man was desperate, he heard about the Greed Island game. I learned that it contains spells that can cure all diseases and potions that can rejuvenate youth. Batra's hope was renewed. If you can get these two things, use a spell to save your girlfriend, and rejuvenate yourself, you can really stay together for a lifetime. These two things do exist, and Chwala has already helped the old man verify them. No. 17 Archangel's Breath SS level card. He can heal serious injuries and incurable diseases that are close to death with just one breath, but he will only appear once. Number 65 Witch's Rejuvenation Potion S level card. There are 100 pills in a bottle. If you take one pill, you will lose 1 year of your age. The impact is only physical, the knowledge and memories will remain. Be careful, you will die if you eat more than your age. This made Xiaoming look at the game makers with admiration. Since these two are designated pocket cards, it means they can indeed be brought into effect in reality. It is also said that some of the game makers have similar telekinesis abilities. Maybe he is Xiaoji's father. Xiaoming could tell through telepathy that Batra was indeed sincere. For this matter, he not only offered a high reward of 50 billion. He also spent hundreds of billions of dollars acquiring almost all Greed Island game consoles. He didn't even compete with Killua's second brother who beat him up. He just doesn't know that the girl he loves is sincere? Or high-end green tea? Let's take a look at the situation first. Mr. Batra, can I go see the patient? Xiaoming asked. Of course, please come with me, Mr. Wood. After that, he led everyone to a bedroom. There was a young girl lying on the beautiful big bed. There are many medical instruments and medicines connected to the body. That girl's appearance can't be said to be so charming, she's just a beautiful girl from a small family. Batra probably also sees beauty in the eye of the beholder. In the world of full-time hunters, medicine is still very advanced. Moreover, Batra is extremely rich, and he can afford to hire some hunters with healing abilities. Probably only the top ones he can't afford, or he can't get in touch with or talk to. Therefore, the girl's condition is still quite serious. As far as Xiaoming knows, Chider Yorkshire, one of the 12 earthly branches, is a 3-star incurable disease hunter. If we can invite her, it shouldn't be a big problem. But with Xiaoming's ability, it's a bit hard to say. Give it a try first. Xiaoming put all his medical abilities to use. Magic, ninjutsu, Taoism, all were used. Unfortunately, the special life skill Angel Gate of the main game character Explorer cannot be used in the secret realm. Otherwise, kill this woman first and then resurrect her. On the contrary, the success rate is higher. Otherwise, transforming her into an undead creature is also a way. However, although Xiaoming did not save the girl, the effect was still quite gratifying. Medical equipment showed that her physical signs were much better. If nothing else, it can at least last a few more years. Recently, this girl has shown signs of dying, and Batra is very worried that she will not be able to complete the game. He was already ecstatic about the healing effects of wood. Batra was grateful for the wood. Extremely enthusiastic. Several people left the room to discuss further. Xiaoming greeted Batra for a few words, and then asked Chwala, Mr. Chwala, can I ask you a question? Mr. Wood, please speak. I know everything I can say. That's right. If I can smuggle this girl to the Greed Island, can I use the breath of the Archangel? Chwala and the other 3 team members looked at each other, thought about it and replied. It should be possible. But it's not easy. Someone has done this before. They boarded a boat from the sea to Greed Island. But the game administrator discovered it right away. The manager rushed to the stowaway in a short time and used his own magic card to drive him away. Even if your combat power is stronger than your opponent's, you can't fight against magic cards. Mew Mew smiled slightly and said confidently, that's it, that's easy. This time is enough. Do you have the card of Archangel's breath? Of course Juezchula seemed to see hope. Batra's eyes even shone. So the smuggling plan was formally established. Everyone discussed the details and started to implement it. The steps are very simple. The first step is to put Batra and his girlfriend into Guangmingding. Guangmingding has a lot of space inside, and there are many compartments. Just don't let them meet the Phantom Troop Bomb Demon and others. The second step is that Mutio and Juzi Ijula log into the game together. Juzi Ijula gave Mutio 2 cards, the Archangel's Breath and the Witch's Rejuvenation Potion. The person who violated the rules only needs to have Mutio. There is no need to let Juzi Ijula and others take risks. The third step is that Mutio released the 2 on Greed Island, used the Archangel's Breath on his girlfriend, and used a proper amount of the Witch's Rejuvenation Potion on Batra. Sure enough, the girl miraculously recovered her health, and Batra also miraculously recovered her youth. Just as they were gradually recovering, Lei Jia suddenly flew here. Seeing this scene, especially seeing Mutio's presence, he was also a little dumbfounded. Lei Jia came really fast, and the archangel who treated the girl had not disappeared yet. It's clear what happened. Xiaoming is not worried that these effects will disappear after leaving Greed Island. Imagine a player gets injured in a fight on the island, and then uses the breath of an archangel to heal him. After leaving the game and returning to the real world, the card effect disappears and the player dies again. How can that be? The game will be criticized. So Batra's goal must have been achieved. The question is, what kind of punishment will he receive from the game producer?